Welcome everyone to this tutorial on Adobe Analytics API 2.0 and the Python wrapper Analytics. And on this video, I want to show you what have been the latest addition to this API wrapper. And you can always find the latest edition when you go to my GitHub elements and you go to the release section, and there you can see the different release and then the different patches that have come following this release to either fix it or fix other things that have been asked later on. In this video, I would like to focus on the compare report suite. There is documentation about it, some scan segments, scan calculated metrics methods, and the rsidSuffix for project. You can see here I've done 3 patches following the release. So the latest version is 0.7.3. I hope you can all see that. And I will just increase the font a bit so you can better see what's going on. So I don't think there is a lot to say at the beginning because I will just import everything needed for the API to work, and you have that covered in the different other videos that I have done for this module. And you can see that I have the latest version of this module. Then I already know my login company, so I will use that, and I will retrieve the report suites directly via the get report suite method. That returns me a simple data frame with my different report suite ID, and by using those different report suite ID, I can send them in the compare report suite method that you have in the list. So I have listed 3 here, and you can see that I have selected dimension, and this element helps you decide what you want to compare when you compare your report suite settings. So it's either dimension or calculated metric or a metric, sorry. And you can save those in the CSV format. You can always find these options directly in your Jupyter notebooks by either using the help function or using shift tab. And in that case, you can see that like list RSID is the element that contains the different report suite ID. And the elements is either dimension or metrics, and you can do also a different comparison type. So either full would take all the attribute, and we will see that directly after, and you can save that. And you can see here some different elements. So comparison can be either full by default or named. So in my case, I didn't specify it, so it would be full. And then you can see dimension will be default or metrics, and I put dimension here just to put this example. So I'm running that, and directly afterwards, so it took 3 seconds to run that, and I can compare. So I save everything into the compare. This is a data frame, and I can compare it, and you can see that I have the title of those different report suite for those different IDs. So you can see exit prop, page event var1, prop 2, entry prop 2. And here are the different elements. So you can see there are some elements sometimes different. In that case, in the test, I don't have my target element being attached. And in that case, you will see that the different column will be returning true. This will tell you if anything before and has been different at any point in time. So you can compare, and then you can use this column to set everything that is being different, and you can see all of those differences here. So obviously you can take more than the 3 report suite or less than 3 report suite. So the less than 3 will be 2. That's the minimum to compare. And obviously more you integrate, and more there is a chance that you have differences. I hope this will be helpful for you. And now we will go to the scans methods. So I will get some segment and some calculated metrics. And you see that when I get the segment, I have some IDs that have been being retrieved, and the same for calculated metrics here. There are some IDs being returned, and I can use those IDs here to return how the segment has been built. So which dimension has been used, which metrics. In my case, there is no metrics, and which report suite ID is being attached to, and the scope of the main scope of the segment. So in that case, it's a scope hit, and you can obviously change that by segment. So you will see that if you have several scopes in your segment, so nested scope with different element of the scope, so it's visit and visitors, it will take the global one, so the one that is being applied at the top of your segments. You have the same capability when you do scan calculated metrics. You take the ID and you return directly the dimension being used, the metrics being used. In my case, metrics visitors, metric visit. So I can imagine that this is the visit per visitors and the report suite being attached. There is no scope calculation here because, or returning any scope, because calculametrics doesn't have any scope in itself. It's just depend on the element that you have used as a matrix or as a segment. So I hope those will be useful for you when you want to know what has been used in your different segment and you want to analyze what are the most used variables or dimensions or metrics for the creation of the segment, as well as the report suite ID being used. Following that, I will go to the project, and as you know, we can get the projects that are workspace project directly by using the get projects elements. So I will run that quickly. I get my project. You see all of my different projects that are being listed here and the names. I have already selected one project, which I'm not sure which is. Yeah, this is the demo video tutorial. So I've probably done that in a previous demo with you. And then I can say I want to return the project class and report suite ID suffix equals true. And what does that give me? So first, now when you look at your project, you can either use that or the toDict method. There is a toDict method that you can use, but this returns you the elements. You have no report type element that is being displayed, so this is a desktop report type. You can see the versions by default, and if there has been any creations. You can see the owner name and so forth. What the report suite ID suffix gives you is that it attached to the dimension and to the metrics the report suite that is being used for that element. So in workspace, it can happen that you have two projects or two freeform that are related to different report suite, and then you have either one meaning something in the report one and either one meaning something else in report two or in the second report suite. And therefore, in here, if you don't have the report suite ID suffix, you will see only prop1 being used, but you don't know if you're using the prop1 of the definition of this report suite or the prop1 definition of this report suite. This gives you this capability, so you can actually use that and check it. And this is also supported through the different fine component usage. So if you have not watched what this is capable of, there is another video for this. It's quite interesting. It tells you where does your different element that you are pushing here are being used in which project segment or calculated metrics. And you can use the rsid suffix in that case to define if you want to check for that rsid suffix. So by running this, I explain all of the details of those directly in the other video, so I will not re-explain that. But in that case, I'm doing rsid suffix equals false, so I'm not looking for suffix. and I'm resetting all of the projects, I'm recalculating all of the projects. It can take a bit of time because it will go through all of your project. And if I'm looking at the findings, you can see that I found prop 1 being used in those segments and the project that we have retrieved here. Now actually I can use rsidSuffix equals true, resetting the project again, so it will return, it will not using the cache version that has been used. And if I'm looking at this, you can see that I have 2 times the project demo video tutorials. And why is that? It's because you have 2 times the prop 1 now. Before it was completely into variable prop 1, only appearing once, but now you have variable prop 1 appearing twice, one when it's being used for this report suite and one when it's being used for this report suite. And the good thing of this is that normally if I'm doing this, it should be able to check. Let me copy that. And should be able to check for this exact element that is being used, or this exact report suite that is being used. I want to use, actually, this is a very dynamic convention because if I'm checking for this, it will also check for this because one is contained on the other. But if I'm checking for the longest one, then I reset everything to true. I wanted to not do that, but anyway, it takes a bit of time. And you can see, this has been used. Obviously, in the segment, I don't have this capability in calculated metric neither, but in the project, I do have a view where this is being used. So my prop 1 with the data analyst staging report suite is being used in that project. I think this is interesting, and that gives you a lot of more flexibility and more capability on the analysis of what the different dimension has been used on your project. So thank you for watching, and let me know if this is helpful or if you have any questions. Have a great day.